inventories. I don't know if you can start to see the bigger picture here, the forest beyond the trees, but I certainly can. I don't know whether we are facing an energy crisis that is manufactured or one that we will never see the end. What I do know is that they want to force you, by you not being able to afford to be able to buy things, to not buy as much. That is going to stop the freight trains from traveling as much. That's going to stop the semi-trucks from moving down the road as much, stop the farm vehicles from farming as much, because you can't afford it. And so it's going to give the illusion that we don't have an energy crisis, because those freight trains, those farm vehicles, and those semi-trucks will not be running at the same levels that they have been for the last 10, 20, 30 years. That's not all that is happening. The China foreign minister has said that any attempt by the United States of America to disrupt the march of China and the march of Russia will fail. Guys, we are in this fight for a new world order that we have seen since World War I and World War II. Previous to World War I and World War II, wars were fought on small scales. You would take over land, loot, pillage, take it all over. Now it's a whole different ballgame. They create an entire new system. That system is going to be the one that runs your economy, ruins, or like it because we're in America, runs your economy, runs every facet and aspect of your daily life, and it's going to be spearheaded by China and Russia. The Chinese foreign minister has said that the United States of America's nuclear blackmail will not work with China. And he says that China has the ability and the confidence to protect all security interests. Japan has approached the United States of America in concern of this growing global geopolitical problem to purchase Tomahawk cruise missiles. The negotiations are entering the final phase. The Japanese government is wanting to move forward and possess the ability to counterattack enemy. We all know that means China bases from landing, or ships from landing forces on Japanese soil. It's being reported that the chief executive of the Russian oil giant Rosneft and one of Vladimir Putin's closest allies has heaped praise on the Chinese leadership and said that Taiwan will return to its, quote, native harbor on due time. The individual said that decisions taken by the 20th Communist Party Congress, which cemented the Chinese president into his position, will provide a new level of development for the country and for the world. The Chinese foreign minister has said that China is ready to deepen its relations with Russia on every single level. This is extremely bad news for America. The New World Order will not include your company that pays you monthly to pay your bills. The New World Order will see you like America has seen the infrastructure of other countries for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The reason you can even try to scrape by and afford your bills today is because that pillowcase that you're laying your head down at night is made by some slave labor work in Thailand, Malaysia, Pakistan, China, somewhere else. That rubber that's on the shoe that you are wearing is made by some slave work at China, Malaysia, Thailand, Pakistan, Vietnam, or somewhere else. If things were made at prices that people are expected to pay here in America or be paid for their labor, you would be charged $600 for a pair of shoes. You'd be charged $45 for a pillowcase, because the time it takes to either make the machinery that makes that shoe or for the person to make it by hand is hours and hours of work. And that comes with a fee. Even at the minimum wage, you would see a pillowcase costing an individual $35 to $40 just to make it. And that comes down to what it took to get that cotton, then turning that cotton or that fabric into a blend, and then blending that into a roll, and then putting that roll and transporting it into a person's hands, and then getting those hands to cut it out. And then those hands are cutting it, and then they're sewing it, and then they're cleaning it, and then they're dyeing it, and then they're sending it to you. You're talking a $45 pillowcase. The world of America, I guess, because we all kind of like see ourselves as the center of the world. America's whole world is over. The New World Order is rising. And there's a fight America's politicians and government and military, and the Western politicians and government and militaries do not want to see this, because this fight is going to be the largest fight that you have ever seen. America will not go quietly into the night. Who has used nuclear weapons before? Who do you think will use them again? Who has put money into the creation of chemical, biological, and nuclear threats? There is so much going on that we don't know about, but what we do know is that we are already living in that Mad Max style world. Sure, you're still going to work. Maybe you're popping up that collar, putting that tie on, but things have changed. And those winds, those tides of change are here and there for the worse. India's foreign minister has said that India will visit Russia on November 8th to deepen its country's relations with Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson says that the threat of a nuclear conflict has risen considerably around its fight with Europe. The historical period of the West's undivided dominance over world affairs is now coming to an end. That was Vladimir Putin yesterday. The Pentagon says that Russia poses serious threats to the security of the United States. You know what that security is? The old world order. According to an Air Force at war, Russia is reported to be running through its stockpile of missiles, which will lead to Russia either advancing by foot or using other types of weapons in the weeks to come. Currently, monitors warn that due to a shortage of high-precision weapon systems, Russia has changed its tactics. You're going to see more infrastructural attacks and possibly new chemical, nuclear, or biological attacks. In an interesting turn of events, the Russian Duma has allowed the unblocking of Twitter since the network was acquired by Elon Musk. The Ukrainian president is claiming that cooperation with Israel is on a positive trajectory, where he says that the country has continued to share war-altering information with Ukraine to battle the Russians and Russian invasion, as well as its attacks that will change the shape of this conflict for months to come. I'll tell you honestly, he says, I am satisfied with the past few days. This is according to a statement from his office. We started working. I won't give you details because our intelligence is working, but I want to say after a long pause, I see steps moving forward. We need Israel's help, he says, and Israel's political leadership. Because Israel is a state, he says, that knows how, in detail, what war tragedies are. And Israeli societies fully support Ukraine. Interesting as we look at what's going to happen over the course of the next couple of weeks. We saw a video of a female auto defense group apparently based out of different areas in Mexico. Since the Mexican government cannot or will not provide enough security, civilians are taking up their arms. And I ask you, is this the future of America? The Senate GOP report today says that a certain biological threat was released either accidentally or not accidentally. And what does that mean for our future? Can people take that? Can they understand it? Can they accept it? And who will they call with pitchforks and torches for the next change to take place? We're getting reports from all over the country of crisis centers. All states of the United States of America are seeing never before witnessed increases in suicidal and mental health emergency calls, some claiming an increase of 400%. I was watching a call report from a homeless person sleeping on a road where a construction truck drove in and amputated his arm, crushed it under the construction truck. They tried to call 911. Passersby, construction people, they were put on hold or told they would be called back later. This is new America. This is your country. This is the once proud land of the free and home of the brave. Home of the free, land of the brave. Home of the indebted, land of the servitude. Home of the slaves, land of the slave masters. This is America. Europe's energy crisis, triggered by the Russian conflict and the dropping of natural gas flows, has forced people to turn to sources like firewood. More people are stocking up and prices are skyrocketing. Shortages and thefts are being reported. Foresters are putting GPS tracking units into logs to track stocks. They're watching the forest. People are coming in at night and they are taking down trees, and they are being arrested for trying to keep their families warm. German forest rangers are seeing people gathering around fallen wood in forests, not knowing that it's illegal to do that. You can't take fallen, already dead wood out of the forest to keep your family from freezing to death.
That don't make no fucking
The Czech
sense.
state forests, which sell wood only for household consumption, has limited the amount of firewood sold to individuals. Theft of firewood is being reported across multiple European countries. Police are warning about significant increases in scams claiming to sell firewood and sell wood pellets, while several companies across the country are raided and their inventories taken. Nationwide statistic agencies claim that the demand for firewood and pellets has risen 85%. We've seen a massive increase as energy costs rise, says Nick Snell, the managing director of Certainly Wood, which bills itself as the largest firewood supplier in the UK. Snell estimates that the company's kiln-dried hardwood is 20% more expensive than last year, and it's going to get more expensive as winter comes in full. The government and environmentalists say that not just the risks of fires in your house, but it's hazardous to your health. They don't care that you freeze to death otherwise. It's dangerous, guys. Don't do it. Don't protect yourself. You don't need a weapon. That's dangerous. Don't have firewood in your house. Don't have a fire. That's dangerous. It's bad for the environment. Just die. The world would be better. One less person to feed. That seems to be the mindset of the people who are against survival. We have to get back to our roots here. In Kosovo, where electricity prices have spiked, the cutting of significantly increased. Different environmentalist groups have been monitoring forests in different areas, finding people illegally cutting trees in the early morning hours, sold or taken to families. Often the trees cut are young trees. They are subjected, they say, to vulgar deforestation without any criteria and control. How dare those peasants, I ask, try to stay warm in the winter? They should have asked for permission first. Now, don't get me wrong, deforestation, bad. Who's often to blame here? They want to blame you for your carbon footprint, but the same people who are blaming you are riding massive trains that they don't need to and taking the planes that they don't need to, burning more carbon than you ever could in your life.
Yeah, I'm about to roll
The
up.
people who want to blame you for deforestation because you need to stay warm are taking
Don't
down
pay out when
massive
you get it online.
forests illegally across the world and selling that wood illegally in places like the Amazon. But they blame you.
Uh-huh.
So
It's all a game for control, for power, and for wealth. Open source intelligence operators in the social media space are warning their counterparts to remember that now Twitter is not a public company. It does not work in the interests of its public shareholders. They are warning everyone to watch what you post, who you share information with, and more importantly, practice more operational security when using the platform. In economic news, the global economy is facing a dangerous and volatile environment that could create huge financial stability risks. That is from Janet Yellen, who just a couple of days ago, as you will remember, said that she sees nothing out there that causes her concern. Monthly mortgage payments on a typical U.S. home now take more than 38% of a homeowner's income. We're looking at Great Depression levels coming soon. Younger Americans in the 18 to 29-year-old age bracket have a 76% higher credit card delinquency rate compared to all other population groups. They fed children credit and are living off of their debt. Investment agencies warn that more is to come after news showed that news broke that showed the biggest tech stocks have lost $3 trillion in market cap over the last year. Germany's France's leader has said that they will threaten trade relations against Biden. The allies will turn against America when things get hard. Economists are warning that distressed debt is expanding in the U.S. corporate bond market, and investors are growing increasingly concerned that never-before-seen amounts of default bankruptcies are on the way. They say that companies that marketed their profits on low-cost borrowing are now facing the harsh reality of refinancing during a time of unforeseen yields. They will go bankrupt. A move that threatens to push the economy over the edge into what some are calling a point of fiscal no return. Market participants see distress leading to defaults for most and complete annihilation at the corporate sector for some. Insolvencies will rise, starting first with a slow trickle, says Stacy Tecklin, a lawyer at Glenn Ag Bergman and Fuentes, and maybe starting to see the edge of the cliff here. What we're seeing is a lot of behind-the-scenes restructuring, lowercase r, they say. Bankruptcy is the future. Winter is coming. One of the most watched and feared inflation gauges once again accelerated past expectations in September, which shows a constant increase in price elevation to a 4-decade high, according to new data that was just released today, Friday. Economic watchers say that the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index showed once again that despite the government and despite the Federal Reserve pretending to be on the side of the people, chanting publicly for prices to go down, instead, core prices, which strip out the most volatile measurements of food and energy, rose once again on an annual basis, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The more encompassing headline figure rose 6.2%. This party isn't over yet. You have to remember that these numbers, though indicative, are false. They are faked. They are fudged. They are redirected, and they are brushed, all to show you the picture that the government and the Federal Reserve in power wants you to see. Things are much worse than they seem, and you can tell that every time that you go to the store. You want to see just how rigged this game is? Even when they lose, they win. Elon Musk came in, took over Twitter, right? Fired the CEO, or fired a whole bunch of people. One of the individuals, this was the CEO, the ex-CEO now. After getting fired, you know what he gets? $42 million. Even when they lose, they win. The game is and always will be rigged against us. Guys, we know that hard times are coming. Think about how you're going to, not just this winter, but every winter from this point forward, without access to what you have used for the last 10 years. If you've used primarily wood, think about what you'll use if wood isn't available, if they make it illegal. If you've used natural gas or propane, what will you do if you can't get that? What will this diesel shortage mean for our country? What does the breaking of the old world order mean for America? How will we persevere and push through changing into a third world country where, like in Mexico, people have to take up their own defenses just to stop from being violently overrun by gangs? Because just like that 911 call for that individual who had his arm amputated by a construction truck, when you call, they don't come. The line's busy, or it's dead, and they say they'll call you back. What about those crisis centers? Because our brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers and children sometimes can no longer handle the dual reality that they've sold you the lie that America was the dream country, the best place to live. And when you're inside of it, for the vast majority, it's a time of hardship, despair, and servitude. You're supposed to put those smiles on, go back to work. At the end of the day, finish your six-pack, watch your shows, go to sleep, take your antidepressants, wake up, and do it again. That's the land of the dreams. Please stay safe, everyone. Things are changing. Things are getting worse out there. I just want you and your family to be ready to the best of your abilities. From my family to yours, keep watch of all of these events. Stay safe, talk with family, hug your loved ones, and get ready. Do your chores, do your preps, and then have fun. Make sure that you check out contingencymedical.com if you're looking for antibiotics from a real pharmacy. Amoxicillin, another shortage right now. I know that they're still shipping them with the packs. I don't know how long that's going to last. Use the code FSS10. You'll get $20 off of your order. And nutrientsurvival.com/FSS. Use the code FSS10 there to get $10 off of long-term food storage. Make sure you've got your rice. Make sure that you've got your canned goods. Make sure that you're ready because things are getting harder. Stay safe, everyone.
Here I have some new beginner drones from Beta FPV and their Cetus line. This is the Cetus Lite, and this is the Cetus Lite FPV. Both of these drones come as a kit with everything you need to get into flying drones, whether you want to fly FPV or if you want something small and safe to just fly around your house.